destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
A small boy walked down a city street. Hope was
Somber
in
vibes.
his eyes.
Yeah, man. Because that was intense.
As he searched the faces
Dum,
of the
dum.
people.
We're still recovering.
I'm just like,
Still recovering, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like I just went to a funeral.
Yes, exactly.
Lord, the death of so many things.
We will be getting into it, every single bit of it. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you guys for joining us. It is the finale. I am Veronica Barriga, and next to me is the lovely...
Hola, mi gente. Franceli Chapman here, checking in.
I can literally never do that cool of an intro. Hi, I'm Drew Jones. Not as cool, but here we are.
The
Drew's
one and
cool.
only. Okay, Drew.
Yes.
Well, ladies, before we get to the depressing
Right.
situations, no, but yeah, it was so intense. But I want to start with something light, something nice. Well, actually, before I get into that, I want to start with the overall thoughts.
Okay.
And usually we do overall thoughts of the episode, but because it's the finale, what are your overall thoughts of the show?
Season 1 of The Shy.
That's right.
Go ahead, Drew.
This is what TV needed.
Come on.
Like, this was exactly what we needed. This level of real. We needed this level of blackness.
Yeah.
We needed this. We needed, multi-dimensional black characters, and this show gave it to us, and we laughed, and we cried, and we cringed, and we related, and I'm obsessed with this show.
Yeah.
The Shy Season 1. Oh, man. Overall, just an incredible depiction of colored people, the layers, all the nuances of what it means to be someone of color in this country. I really love the fact that police were in it, but it wasn't the center scope of the story. Being a hip hop or a drug dealer wasn't center scope of the story. Again, it's there because it's part of reality of what it means to live in an urban community in a big fast city. But it was just about the people in the community, and it takes a village to really raise up a child. And I mean, it's just beautiful writing. And it's needed. We got now the future's female. Go ahead, Lena. And
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
2 cents.
That's what it is. There was something, it was so timely, like you said. It was so real. It was about the people. It wasn't about the cops. And it was, again, taking away all the stereotypes of what the hood is or black people are. And just I'm getting so dramatic, but I don't want to cry or anything, but they did such a beautiful job
They did.
of humanizing these real, authentic characters. And I read this article that Common just kind of, that Common, the executive producer, said, when you make shows like this, it helps end racism. And I was like, wow. And I do think this is one of those shows that is just like opening people's minds and changing the scope of what, people think Chicago is.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. It's important to see people. And I think that there's a certain marginalized community that has been invisible for so long. And what has been going on specifically in the community of Chicago, folks feel invisible because they're just like, oh, that's Chirac, or they're just black on black crime. They're just killing each other. And they've kind of just swept them under the rug. And it's important for people to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
So shout outs to Common and Lena, and shout outs to Fox 21 Television and Showtime and everyone who helped greenlight this project.
That's right.
For them to be seen.
Yeah. Shout out to Dominique Sarita, who is our lovely fourth host.
Yes.
She's not here.
Hey, Dominique.
But she's in the chat
She's
with
in
you
the
guys,
chat.
and she said The Shy Season 1 is a mother freaking necessity. When you make shows like this, it helps you understand others. Never underestimate the power of understanding.
That's
And
right.
Amen.
That's
Go
right.
ahead,
Peace and
Dominique.
love. Peace and love.
Yes, we
Shout out
love
to
that.
Dominique. Love you in the chat, girl. So let's get right into it because there's a lot to discuss this
A
time
lot.
around. But I want to start with something nice. I want to start before we get into the the gritty nitty.
Right.
The kids being kids.
Oh, don't we love them? Listen, Big Papa is the MVP of season 1, and people in the chat are saying the same thing. You know, shout outs to the other Dominique who's in the chat and Miss Chris Brown and everyone else was there, but they're all saying the same thing. Like, people just love Big Papa. Black Twitter loves Big Papa.
I use Papa GIFs on the day.
On Twitter, yeah, I've seen that. I've
Big
seen that.
Papa is just everything, and especially in this episode, the importance of compassion. And you know, I love Jesus, so shout outs to Big Papa who loves Jesus as well. And that's the thing, when you love Jesus, people expect you to be perfect, and no, you just can't be. And his line saying, "I just aspire, I'm not him." And then that moment where he showed Jake compassion and love, even though he's going down the wrong road, he's not judging him, he's just loving him. And God is love, and he calls us to love people. So he's loving Jake through his journey and his process. He's like, let me hug you, I'm praying for you, I hope you're protected and safe. And that's what it's really about. People will make choices in their lives that we can't. God gave us free will, so we can't, like.
That was hard. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Jake go down that dark path. What are your take on the kids and like where they're going, Drew?
Well, I think definitely Jake is kind of having that moment where he's like, maybe this isn't what I want to get into, but I'm in really deep. But I don't think he understands that he's not in as deep as he thinks he is.
Sure.
And so I'm really hoping next season we get to see him make better decisions. But I love the kids. I mean, I feel like I talk about them every week, that I want, you know, protect them at all costs. I'm so thankful that nothing bad happened to them. I was so scared the entire episode. But yeah, I'm just glad to see them get to be kids and be joyful. And yeah, there's all these things going on in their lives, but I feel like, and this was like, the kids are a perfect example of that. So often Black kids are instantly thrown into adulthood before they're ready to go into adulthood because of the things they have to put up with. Yeah. And it's nice to see these characters, despite everything they've gone through, be able to like go on stage and, you know,
be kids.
Be nervous about kid things. Like performing in the play and asking out the girl you like. This is what I needed, you know, because it got so intense, and I don't think I'd be able to finish the episode if they didn't have these light moments thrown in here and there. I needed that.
And I love when Kevin, I love the character growth on the show is crazy. I love it. I love that Kevin felt the need to go apologize to Maisha.
Yes, Maisha, that is her name.
I love that. I remember that. But I love that he went and apologized to her, because I feel like I don't know, I just don't think that's something that people would think to do. And I love that he, you know, went and did that. And I also love that she was like, I'm not even into you anymore. Let's go with Papa.
Let's go with Papa.
She has moved on, ladies and gentlemen.
When we were watching it, I was literally chanting, please like Papa, please like Papa.
Big Papa and Kevin during the performance reminded me of, you know, Big Papa, Diddy and Notorious B.I.G. I felt like
from the beginning, he's had that vibe.
Their whole showmanship on stage was very like, he's P. Diddy and he's B.I.G. and he's holding it down. It was great. I love that Jake came to see the performance and dragged his brother there. Like, just the whole support either way, despite that they're going down different roads.
Did you guys notice that there was this moment, and this is just brilliant directing, brilliant cinematography, and acting too, but there was this moment where they had the camera on Jake as he was watching the play, and they started to sort of pull back, and you kind of saw him like watching his childhood float away from him as he watched the play. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, and definitely some regret. Like, man, I feel left out.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm okay with this. You know, it was just that you could see the textures in his kind of battle with what was happening.
And speaking of Jake, and now this whole Reggie situation, oh man, this is so tough. But what do you think? Do you think he's, is he in it for life, or do you think Jake is still somehow on the edge of feeling like maybe this is not for me, or is he too deep in?
I think it's not so much like, is this the life for me or not? I think it's more of, this is my only family I have, and I'm trying to and I have to cling on to what I know, and my brother's what I know. Yeah. And I mean, like, I have a ton of siblings, and I can relate to Jake, where it's like, you'll do anything for your siblings. I think anybody would do anything for their siblings, especially when they're all you have. And so it's not so much of like, I don't think Jake's dumb. I don't think Jake thinks like, this is the way I need to go. This is like this is going to be a happy ending for me.
Right.
I think Jake understands like this isn't.
You know, I think you nailed it because you said, this is my only family. And a lot of kids, they join gangs because they don't have a base. They don't have families. And those people become their brothers and their blood. And they do anything and all kinds of bad things for the situation. But yeah, that's what it is. This is so sad. But but I will, let's move on to Emmett and Tiffany. Another situation there. We talked about this last week about how if he were to, you know, they're moving to Seattle, or at least the mom is. We don't know where Jake is going, or not Jake, I'm sorry, Emmett at this point. But we talked about if he were to somehow take the baby, like would the courts be, you know, with it? And there's this sort of disparity against men, and it's always about the mom regardless, you know.
Yeah.
So what do you girls think about that?
I mean, I definitely called it last week. I said this. I was like, it's really difficult for a man to get full custody of a child. The courts do favor the mother, and I definitely called that something. And Drew, you backed me up on this. Something was going on in the home that was kind of shady. We weren't sure what it was, and I was like, I thought about it. What if she was getting, you know, hit by this man? And like, I mean, great writing again. We sitting there tuned in. We see her black eye. We're like, oh man, she's getting beat. And she really doing the beating, you know, like they're beating each other. And it is a very hostile environment for a child to be growing up in. And that scene between Emmett and his mother, where he's like, I don't know what to do here because I want to protect my son. And she's like, well, you gotta get custody. You gotta fight for this. And she's like, it's not gonna be an easy battle, but he's worth it, you know? And that was beautiful too. So we'll see what happens season 2. Lord.
That was a beautiful moment.
Obviously Papa is like the popular, like everyone loves Papa. I also love Emmett.
Yes.
The growth that Emmett has had this entire season has just been so, gives me hope for the men of our community.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Makes me not want to slap all y'all. Yeah. But I love when Lena does subtle little things that speak to the culture, but she doesn't make it the main plot line. Like, when we find out that Tiffany's actually the one throwing hands.
Jeez.
Like, I think that's something that happens, you know. Domestic violence is domestic violence. It doesn't matter if it's the man or the woman. It's still equally bad. But obviously, culturally, it's more frowned upon for men to be hitting women than it is the other way around. So I like that Lena kind of like sprinkled that in there. Like,
here's a little bit of truth.
Yeah. And then I feel like Jada feels like she can leave Emmett because he's at that point now. You know, I think like we would have seen her tug a little bit more on him coming with her had he not gotten his act together. But I think she kind of sees him almost like
maturity.
Graduating from like parental school or whatever. And it's like, okay, like I believe in you. You can do this. It's going to be tough, but like.
Yeah, and it's so nice that she is a good mom because, you know, if he didn't have that, where would that kid be? Emmett, I mean, I know he has a kid, but he's a kid too. Where would Emmett be without such a strong female role model, you know? It's really amazing to see the difference between, you know, the kids that have that figure and the kids that don't, like Jake. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
You know what I just thought about? Emmett has other children.
Yeah. I forgot about that, didn't
I do think about that too. I was like, he's so cute. Like at the beginning, well, not the beginning, but towards the beginning of the episode where he's like in the park swinging him on the swing. I'm like, oh, he's so cute. And in that moment, I thought, but like, does he not care about any of his other children? Like, why is this one the
two others, right?
I think so.
Maybe the mom's got full custody and he has no rights. I mean, who knows? That's
they do have full custody.
Yeah,
they did talk about that earlier in the season because I think when he was dropping off at the sitters, something happened where they did drop that in there that he doesn't have full custody, and I think one of the moms moved away.
See?
So yeah,
maybe we can see that like in season 2. That'd be something I'd like to see.
Yeah.
With Emmett's character.
They all move into Emmett's house and he raises all of them. 1 dad, 3 babies. No, I'm just kidding.
That's his own spin-off show.
Right.
But let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit. We kind of start with when they say Trice is not coming back.
Man, oh man.
Wow.
That scene was intense. Like him on the chair. Like, I just knew you're not surviving this.
I had to walk away.
It was
It
like,
was stressing
She
me out.
did. She did walk
She
away.
literally
She left the station.
put
yeah.
her headphones down. It was like, I'm out. But this is the thing, you know, ultimately, we finally saw how Jason died. And no matter which way you played it, he played a part. And I think ultimately, maybe Q might have spared him, still tortured him, but might have spared him had he not said, I had no choice.
Interesting.
Yes, because
Yeah.
one of the things overall, the arc of Q's character that he's continued to instill as the older generation is that you do have a choice. And there's something about
That's a good point.
separating the business and the messed up things that you do and making sure the community stays safe.
Right.
And that this new generation is just all willy-nilly.
Doing
And
it
he's
wrong.
like, my son was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and I did everything. I left so he wouldn't get caught up. And I just felt like that was interesting how, you know, the demons of your past catch up to you anyway, even though he tried.
That's called karma.
Yeah. Like, it's not
Karma
pretty.
is real, and it'll hit you one way. I am a big believer in karma, and this show showed a lot of it this episode, even with Wallace, which we'll get into later. But yeah, you said it, girl. That's what it is. It'll come back and haunt you. Did you guys? Man, it was hard to see Jake, you know, be part of that. It's like, okay, great. You're 12 years old and you see your first murder and your brother's doing it. So by the time you're 16, you're really numb to the situation, because how many, you know, murders have you been a part of at that point? But what was your reaction to the scene, Drew, with when he shot Trice?
I think it hurts me because I feel like it's a cycle. You know, like it's just like that. That's the beginning. Like, Jake's never going to be able to unsee that. And I think, you know, we're going to see a comparison of him and now Kevin, who have both seen, like, deaths. One obviously was unjust, and the other one was a little bit more provoked. But we're going to see, I think, both of them as young black men, how they choose to handle it and how they choose to, like, walk their paths. And it bothers me because I just feel like I love the character of Jake. And I even like Reg, because I feel like Reg,
She's like, oh.
I feel like Reg in his
Really?
own way thinks that he's doing what's best.
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't think he's trying. Obviously, his choices aren't great or whatever, but I think that's all he knows, and I think that's the only way he thinks. I think he thinks he's preparing his brother for the real world and that he's protecting him.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
He's being a big brother the best way he knows how.
Yeah.
And so I will agree, you know, and we said this at the very beginning, I think when we did the pilot episode, it's not black and white.
Right.
With this story, with
Yeah.
these people, you can't just say right or wrong. You know, people are operating from their perspective, their knowledge, as much as in pain that they are, they're doing what they can. And I think Jake genuinely, unfortunately, wants to be part of all of this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's curious. You know, his brother, to a certain degree, tries to protect him somewhat, stay outside. And you won't stay outside. You want to be all up in the business. You want to see. So as much as it hurts me and it pains me for this young man to witness this murder, you wanted to. Because he was like, they're going to kill him. So you had an idea this was what was happening, and you went in there anyway. You wanted to see. And even when Q was like, well, you can go in there, he went in there.
Yeah.
I think it's like those episodes of Scared Straight where those kids really think they're about that life,
Right.
and then they get up in there and those prisoners and stuff like start telling them what's good, and they're like, oh, pause, I wasn't ready for that. I feel like Jake thinks that he knows what this lifestyle entails, and he just has no idea.
Right.
Well, we are about to see prison life. For a minute there, I felt like I was watching a different show, like The Night Of or something like that. But yeah, he's going down the prison walk. Ronnie, guy, he turned himself in. You know, this is the thing with Ronnie, that I just, from the beginning, he was like the lovable loser. And I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but for me, there was some redeeming quality in him, even before I even knew it was getting to this point. And then at episode 10, I was able to be like, okay, that's what it was, Veronica. You knew that at the end of the day, this man would do the right thing, and he did. What was your reaction to all that and watching him go through the confessions?
I
And
can't even talk about it.
oh.
I respect. I don't know. Hold on. Let me think about this. Okay.
Yeah,
He
so
once
much.
sold Meldrick out, and we're gonna see that come back
True.
to bite him in the ass.
Well, we always known that Ronnie was a snitch because
Yeah.
he was the CI for Detective
Yeah,
Cruz
yeah.
in the first place.
Ronnie's for sure a
That's
snitch.
right.
Um,
She said, yeah.
I feel like that's gonna come back to haunt him season 2 in jail because you can't tell me
Ooh.
that Meldrick doesn't have people in there.
Mm.
So I feel
Damn.
like
Come on.
I
Come
feel
on,
like
Drew.
we're gonna you know Lena, if
got
you want
real.
help writing season
With
2,
the predictions?
I got you. Yeah. So I feel like that they wouldn't have thrown that in there if we weren't gonna see something happening with that. But I'm hoping that we see Ronnie continue to go down this like redemption road, and he improves and he betters himself. But it's hard to tell with Ronnie because I feel like when things get tough, Ronnie doesn't always take the high road.
Okay.
So I feel like it's not going to be this like straight and narrow path for him.
There's just
I
so
wonder
much
what the
going
chop
on
thinks.
with Ronnie's confession. Like Ronnie's confession is like, it felt like the butterfly effect. It messed up so many things in the timeline in terms of like Detective Cruz. That's why they had that whole spat, him and Wallace in the bathroom, because it was like, oh, well, did they not say that you were the one who made out, that Coogie Johnson was in our custody, that. So I think Cruz is treading lightly around this confession because it could put him in a vulnerable space. And then it affects Tracy, and then affects Brandon, who's then in the court, and they have this eye contact. Like there's just so much
Yeah, layers.
domino effect that happens with Ronnie's confession.
Well, King's Queen in the chat, hey girl, shout out. She says Ronnie is a snake.
Oh, jeez.
So
Okay,
that
girl.
So
She feels really strongly about that. All right, girl.
That's how
Ronnie's
you
a
feel?
snake. So she said okay, which is interesting because I have the opposite, view. But I love that.
I have
love
a soft spot for him because he could have gotten away with this. He really could have. It's, street code. Everybody was hush hush, including the cop who knows you did it. And they didn't do that. So
Tell us, Drew. I
Yeah,
just
tell
saw
us
that
what's
too.
happening.
Dominique,
Yeah.
girl.
Dominique is in the chat.
She said Cruz is going to turn into a bad/crooked cop.
no,
Okay.
I
Hope not.
can't.
Well-
we got a baby on the way.
The thing is, just like this city will suck in like kids that are trying to do the right thing, and it'll just pull you in if you don't resist enough. It can do the same thing to cops, but Cruz is a good guy. I mean, he beat Wallace, right? He and that was such a good scene. I was
That
like,
was.
let him have it, and put a gun to his head. I was like, okay, Cruz, give it to him. I've been waiting for this moment all season.
Yeah.
He's a bad cop. Give it to him. Shoot his ass. I'm sorry. Getting out of control here, but but do you guys think that Cruz is capable of? He's our good cop. Is he capable of being a bad cop?
See, oh man, this is where I get in here. It's so tough because there's just so much that could happen. Because number one, that final moment where the whoever the head of the DA, I don't know who she is, this
Yeah.
woman
That lady,
who's
yeah.
everyone's boss. We need to find out who she is. But she tells Cruz, like, this is your case now. And it really made me think, like, once Cruz really goes down the rabbit hole of how deep Wallace was in this game, and then of course now with like Reg making Brandon in his truck, and Cruz has a relationship with his family, and when they get into all of that, Cruz, being the good cop that he is, might not want to rat out Brandon.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many possibilities.
Yeah. It made me want to pull out like the whiteboard with like the clipping and just start like drawing, because I was like, oh, this could go so many ways. What makes me nervous is going into this Wallace case, obviously it's going to bring him to Q.
Yes.
And Q clearly does not care
Is running the
about anything.
situation.
Yeah. So I'm nervous for that. Also, with Wallace saying you're a dead man, I don't know if that was foreshadowing his own death or if that's foreshadowing like some troubled times for Cruz in
Yeah.
So
later
here's
season.
the thing: the whole neighborhood is transforming at this point. Right now, we're getting rid of Trice. Reggie's the new guy on the block. He's gonna start pulling in a new gang. Brandon's getting sucked into this situation, and now our bad cop that sort of runs with the gang is dead. Q has killed Wallace. But before we get deeper into it, oh my God, what was your reaction? When he killed Q is, I'm speechless. When he killed that man, I was like, okay, okay.
Was one of the most uncomfortable deaths I've ever watched because it wasn't a quick and easy, and it wasn't a torture death. It wasn't like a Game of Thrones death where it's like torture, but it's like, I don't know, you're just kind of like numb to it. Like you could feel this death, and it was very hard to watch. I think that I also took my headphones off for that one.
I literally wrote really big, Q kills Detective Wallace gutter style. Oh my God. Like that's really in my notes, y'all. It was insane because it was just like he was really backing out, trying to get out of there, and everyone from the bar, it was yeah, I'm with Drew. I couldn't handle it.
And they even shot it from the back. They didn't even have to show what was happening. That's how amazing that direction was. You didn't even you felt all the things without even showing it.
But I feel like it was such a just death because like as we see what he did to Jason was that hurt my heart. Like I think I was so close to crying because I was just like, this kid was really just trying to bring his like girlfriend some ice cream because she has pregnancy cravings and
that's the worst thing.
Was just at the wrong like did not deserve that death whatsoever. Not only did he not deserve to die, he didn't deserve to die like that.
Right.
That was go ahead.
The cop had a choice in that moment to have called an ambulance and could have still covered it up lightly. And he still didn't spare this young man's life because he was just being super selfish in that moment. And so yes, both Trice and Detective Wallace deserved to die.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They
like,
both had a choice.
They deserved to die.
I mean, you could have let that kid go. He said, I didn't see nothing. I mean, I know it's the streets and you don't trust nobody. And if they saw you doing something, you don't want to go down for it. But he could have let the kid go. Yeah. And Wallace could have called the hospital. You know, this is ruthless. But again, karma... With this, I think the writers believe in karma the way I do because you keep seeing it over and over again, and Wallace was a bad cop, and ultimately, you know, this catches up to you. I don't think he died for that one situation. I think he died for the 10 years of all the BS that he did to infiltrate that neighborhood and cause, you know, people pain and suffering and being a dirty cop. I think this is 10 years in the making, you know?
It's just crazy to me. And the craziest moment for me was Q and Tracy in front of the Jason
That's right.
mural. Like, I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I automatically thought, oh, Q, the only reason why Q is back is because of Tracy. Tracy called him personally and asked her to handle this. I mean, asked him to handle this.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was, and then I was like, man, poor Ronnie over here trying to be his own version of Q and couldn't handle that, and the guilt couldn't, because
He didn't have the sauce.
he didn't have the sauce, because Q not feeling guilty about killing nobody in the name of Jason. But Ronnie clearly did, but it's different. Ronnie killed someone innocent.
Yeah. What's the saying? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I feel like Tracy is the epitome of that. And also, I feel like it's just summing up in a whole that women get shit done. And, like,
That's right.
she wanted justice for her son.
She went and got it.
She got it.
And very quick before we get into predictions, what do you guys think about Brandon and Jericha? I know they touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Drew.
The double standard.
The double standard. I
Ain't that
just think it's so funny because she seems so she's over it, you know?
Yeah, she is.
And like, yeah, she's just like, she's done with it. She's moved on. She literally just gave you her savings. And you're still nitpicking.
Like, come on, bruh. I gave you a shoebox full of money. And you over here questioning about what skirt I got on to go to work.
This is interesting. Do you? I mean, do you think it's easier for men or women to get over cheating?
I think it depends. I don't think it's necessarily a man or a woman thing. I think it has a lot to do with circumstance, and it has a lot to do with like who's emotionally. I think it has a lot to do with trust and whatnot, and like your own insecurities.
Right.
I feel like Jericho's very secure in the relationship and like was able to be like, okay, I know that was a one-time thing. And if anyone had the right to get mad more, I feel like it would have been Jericha, because Sarah was someone that you had been saying from the get-go was trouble. And like Brandon didn't listen, and Brandon slept with Sarah.
Yeah.
Whereas Jericha slept with some
But
Guy
it's
from
kind
work.
of the same situation, though.
Yeah, they
it's
both
so
slept
weird.
with
They
people
both
from
slept
work.
with the. Did she sleep with her boss though?
Marcus.
No, Marcus
Oh, he was
seems
just
to
a
be
coworker.
Yeah.
Just a coworker.
Got it.
But I just
Okay.
feel like, I don't know. I think he needs to. It's clearly an insecurity thing. I think he needs to peep that she clearly wants to be with him because
Yeah,
of where
of
she is in
course.
life and where he is in life.
Mm-hmm.
What she's been doing for him
Right.
with the
Right.
house, with the money,
Actions
supporting
speak
him.
larger than words.
Yeah,
Louder than words.
with
Yeah.
him or with her supporting him through Coogie's death. Like, chill, bruh. Like,
Right. Selling the house. I mean, listen, none of us are perfect. You know, listen. Thou without sin do not cast the first stone. You know, we all live in glass houses, and you can't be sitting here trying to throw a rock when you got your own stuff going on. And it's about like choosing, like, if you make a list of the pros and cons of the person that you're with, if the pros outweigh the cons, then you
Yeah.
you meet them halfway, you compromise, you figure out those things. I think Jerica's pros outweigh her cons.
yeah.
She's a great girlfriend. You
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
marry her.
Right.
I actually thought for a second he was going to propose to her in this episode because I had seen I seen a snippet. They do teasers and they go by real quick, and she had this reaction like, "What are you doing, Brandon?" And I thought, I don't know, for some reason,
Yeah,
I thought maybe it would have gone that way, but season 2,
Hey.
you never know. But yeah, speaking of season 2, this is great. So Lena was at a panel recently, and they were, interviewing her and asking her all these questions about season 2. But she kind of kept quiet, didn't give much, didn't give many details. But she did say one thing, and I thought it was amazing. I want to say it. She told Variety, and I quote, "Season 2 is going to be blacker and more authentic."
Oh, shots fired, Lena. She's like, look, whatever few people that were trying to have their hands on this show, nah, they got the boot. Season
Y'all-
2, I got more creative control.
Y'all thought this was black.
That was my first thought.
Y'all thought,
I said, "I'm sorry, what?"
Wakanda forever.
I would say, y'all thought this was uncomfortably black.
Listen, Lena said the colonizers have to go.
I never face it.
You said more authentic. I'm sorry. This is pretty authentic. Like, girl.
I love Lena.
So now it's good. It's man. Now we must keep watching for the rest of
Yes.
forever. But that was cool, and it's interesting because this is all Lena, I imagine, behind the scenes, but she did replace, we mentioned this last week, she replaced the showrunner, the person in charge of the every day of the show and where it goes, and all the writers, the boss of the show. She replaced a Caucasian gentleman with a black female.
Come on now.
So I think that's
Wakanda
interesting. That's very interesting. I love it.
Black Jones says that I thought this season was black. So Black Jones is with us. Do you understand how we feel? That's how we feel.
And shout out to our girl Dominique. I didn't predict the whole season, but I mean, I have been fairly right.
Yeah, she said, Drew predicted the whole season 1. How, Sway? How?
You're really good.
Raven.
Yes, Drew's
really good.
very good. Are you a prophet? What's going on?
I'm just Raven Simone.
Do you have the gift of
and
prophecy?
that's so Raven. I just be seeing things,
Speaking of predictions, what do you predict for season 2?
Go ahead, Drew. Prophesy for us.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Okay. I feel
Get
like
in the
nervous
spirit,
now.
girl. Get in the spirit,
All right,
girl.
all right.
Let
Whatever
him
your
use you, girl. Let him use
I
you.
do think that the Meldrick is going to come back in a bad way for Ronnie because Meldrick, he ratted Meldrick out in the confession. So I think that's going to bring him some trouble in jail.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see, I'm interested to see how the trial goes.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of redemption in that trial. I think obviously there's going to be a lot of hurt and anger, but I feel like everyone who's involved with that particular trial are very evolved people, and I think there's going to be some sort of like aha moment. Maybe not right at first, but eventually.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I'm still worried about the kids. Still worried about
The darn kids.
mainly
the
Jake.
Yeah.
I feel like Papa is one of those characters they can't do it. Like, I feel like this episode solidified that they can't do anything to Papa because there will be actual riots led by me.
Riots in the streets.
Yeah, but I'm still worried about Jake, and
Yeah.
And I want to see Keisha more. I really like Keisha moments.
Yeah.
I feel like she's a fun character. I
Yeah.
want to see more of her, maybe more of her and Emmett. So those are my predictions.
Okie dokie. Well, Dominique says, I believe they will go deeper into the system and the effects it has on black people.
Ooh, come on, Dominique.
Miss Chris Brown, Brandon will be transporting guns for Reg. Yes, we know that's happening for sure. My predictions are, Laverne, if there is redemption that happens in this court case, Laverne's not going to have it very easily. Because she's very emotional about, that's why she's not selling the house. I have to stay here to see this trial go through. So I think Laverne's going to try to make sure Ronnie gets the chair. And that's going to be a whole thing in itself. I think Jericho and Brandon are going to go through more bumps in the road. I don't think he really is going to let this thing go because, unfortunately, sorry, y'all, but he a man. And that's that. And I think Tracy is going to get involved in this trial in some kind of way because she's going to feel really bad about Ronnie and she's going to try to come to his rescue. And that's all I got so far.
I think she might go to Yolanda's aid.
Really?
I feel like maybe they'll have a moment. But we'll see.
Well, we'll see.
I do think on that note, my predictions are, without getting too specific, I feel like the writers are, now that we have a woman showrunner, no, I'm just kidding, but they're going to get more into the storylines of the women because this has been a male-centered, which I love. I mean, they've got every spectrum of male here, right? They've got the middle-aged guy, they've got the coming-of-age guy, they got the little kid, and it's been so fascinating to watch. But I think season 2, they might start doing that with the female characters and getting a little deeper into the lives of females in Chi-Town. And also I'm a little afraid for little Kevin because towards the end of this episode, Cruz comes to his door and he wants to question him, and maybe, I don't know, I don't want that to lead into a conversation of, okay, I shot Ronnie, or maybe trying to blame it on Brandon and bringing him in. So that could go, I'm a little afraid for little Kevin, but he's also like such a bright kid. He's not going to give up the information, right? I mean, he's pretty with it, but I don't know. I'm scared for season 2.
Mrs. Chris Brown 416 said Brandon will become Cruz's new CI.
Ooh.
Which I think that would be an interesting,
mind blowing.
That is a great prediction.
Great prediction. Miss Chris.
So so before we wrap it up, quick, Drew, you went to a Lena premiere, or she's okay. Tell him.
So I went to the Ready Player One Maze Challenge, and then the other couple days after that, I got to see a viewing of the new movie. And first of all, Lena killed it. It was, if you're in LA, they have this maze over in Hollywood where you can go through the different, places that they touch on throughout the movie. And then if you find all the keys, you can make it to the Oasis, which it is you guys have to go. It's the coolest thing ever. They have the truck that Lena drives around, the actual truck. They have a bunch of the actual pieces from the set. I was sitting in the truck and I was like, Lena's out here. It was so cool. The movie's dope. Lena's dope in it.
Yeah.
Please go check it out. Go support our girl.
Yes, it's called Ready Player One, and it's Lena's in it. It's not her film, but she is in it. It's Steven Spielberg's film, so we know it's gonna be good.
Lena said on The View that Steven Spielberg was like the Jewish father she never knew she always needed.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was awesome that he just was such a father figure, and it was just great working with him. And yeah, she said wonderful things about Spielberg.
That's amazing. All right, well, it's been an amazing season. It's so sad.
Now it's time to say goodbye.
It's time to say goodbye. But you guys, make sure you do subscribe. That way, when we come back, you're right there with us. Thank you, each and every single person, for watching every single week, or even if you just watch one time, we love you for it.
Yeah.
I'm Veronica Barriga, and you can catch me on social media at Veronica B Online.
And ya tu sabe, I'm Franceli Chapman. You can hang out with me at all things at Celly Hangout.
And my name's Drew Jones. You can follow me on all the things at OK Drew J.
Bye, y'all.
This has been fun, guys.
It's been awesome.
I can't wait for season 2.
It's gonna be amazing.
We'll be back.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.